All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring a pretty mind-bending way of looking at reality. The idea that the entire universe is basically just a series of echoes from a single event. It's a concept that beautifully weaves together the spiritual and the scientific. Our journey starts with this quote from the source material, and it's a big one. What if the world you see around you? What if it isn't just a random collection of stuff, but a direct, literal reflection of our inner world, of our thoughts and feelings? I mean, really let that sink in. This one idea is the key to unlocking everything else we're going to talk about. Okay, so to really understand this whole mirror concept, we have to start with the fundamental building block. We're kicking things off with metaphysics, the blueprint of reality, you could say, before it ever becomes physical.
At the heart of it all is this one core concept, the ripple. Just picture a stone hitting a perfectly still pond. You know what happens. It creates a pulse of energy. Well, according to our source, that pulse doesn't just fade away. It echoes out into the universe, forever. And that means every action, maybe even every single thought, starts out as one of these ripples.
And here's that idea broken down. It's actually a super simple four-step process. First, there's a disturbance. That disturbance creates a force. That force then flows into a field around it. And then it echoes outward, eternally. This isn't just meant to be some poetic idea. It's presented as a kind of mechanical process for how literally anything comes into being.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. A ripple isn't just random energy. It actually carries information, what's called a source code. And when you stop and think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? A skyscraper starts as an architect's blueprint. A living creature starts with its DNA. A scientific theory starts as a formula. The physical world, in this view, is simply the final manifestation of these non-physical source codes. Okay, so if everything starts as this non-physical code, how does that actually translate into the hard laws of physics? This next section is all about that, how these ripples build the tangible principles that literally shape our material world.
This brings us to a principle our source calls justice, which it links to the Libra constellation. But this isn't about morality, it's about physical efficiency. It's the difference between just using brute force, or toil, and taking intelligent action. True mastery isn't just working hard, it's about getting the biggest possible result with the least amount of wasted energy. You know, working smarter, not just harder.
And here is the perfect physics to back that up. I mean, the lever is the ultimate physical metaphor for efficiency, isn't it? It's not about how strong you are, it's about understanding the pivot point, the center of gravity, and playing with distance. If you do it right, a small, focused force can move a massive object. It just goes to show you that balance and the intelligent application of force are way more powerful than just raw, undirected effort.
So we have these individual ripples and the principle of balance. But what happens when these ripples start to interact with each other? Well, this is where we get into a truly powerful concept, synergy.
According to the source material, this is the core lesson of the Capricorn constellation. When waves, or ripples, are at the same frequency, they align perfectly. This is wavelength harmony. They literally reinforce each other, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. But when they're at opposing frequencies, they clash. And that's destructive interference, which leads to decay and collapse.
And get this, achieving this wavelength harmony is said to unlock some pretty incredible abilities. As you can see here, these so-called gifts include things like perceiving the data within waves, sensing an object's mass just through vibration, and even generating protective force fields by nullifying harmful frequencies. The really crucial takeaway here is that harmony isn't just some peaceful, passive state, it's an active one that unlocks totally new potential. Now, let's bring all these ideas, the ripples, the balance, the synergy, let's bring them all together into a practical framework for navigating our own lives. For this, our source turns to the teachings of the Scorpio constellation.
Scorpio apparently gives us 4 tools to map our reality. We start with cartography for physical space and chronology for time. Simple enough. But then it gets more abstract. You have portals, which are gateways between realms, and living beings can even act as vessels. And finally, we have coordinates. And this is really cool. Think of this like your own personal map. Your purpose is the vertical y-axis, and all your interactions with the world are the horizontal x-axis. Your coordinates are right where they intersect.
And this question really brings it all home, doesn't it? If our place in the universe is defined by that intersection of our purpose and our actions, then every single choice we make is an act of plotting our own position on this grand map.
It completely reframes our entire existence as an act of conscious navigation.
And that leaves us with this final thought. We started with the idea that our inner world is mirrored by our outer reality. We've seen how a single thought can become a ripple, how those ripples can combine in harmony, and how our choices plot our coordinates on a cosmic map. So what story is your life telling? According to this framework, the universe isn't just happening to you, it's actively responding to you. The stars are weaving a pattern that reflects the ripples you send out.